Доброго дня, друзі. Ну що ж, ми продовжуємо викриття фейків російської
Good
пропаганди,
afternoon,
які
friends.
достатньо
Well, we continue to expose the fakes of Russian propaganda, which are quite primitive, but at the same time trying to influence the mass consciousness. One of the examples is an attempt to crack the creeping line of the Ukrainian TV channel, which reportedly called to lay down arms on behalf of the president of Ukraine. It turned out that it was a banal hacker attack, and it can be easily denied. Of course, the Ukrainian armed forces and the Ukrainian president continue to resist the Russian aggressor. In addition, a rather primitively glued deepfake was thrown into the media space, where the president of Ukraine allegedly declares his refusal to continue conducting defense measures. In fact, there will be more and more of these technologies. We just have to keep calm and think critically. Realize that the aggressor state, with its information attacks, is trying to extinguish its fears on the front line. The second fake that we refute and expose is that the Ukrainian armed forces hit the center of Donetsk with a .U missile. In recent days, this information has been actively circulating in the Russian propaganda media, and now we have analytics from an independent source. The conflict intelligence team found that the attack on the Donetsk with a .U missile system was carried out from Russia-controlled territory. In particular, it has been established, judging by the fact that the rocket launcher itself is located on the ground, that is, flew from the southeast. And in the southeast, at a distance of 120 kilometers, the Russian armed forces are based. So the attack was carried out from the territories where the aggressor is. Russian state propagandists also continue to broadcast the allegation that Ukraine allegedly has been developing biological and chemical weapons. Earlier, Lavrov, Lukashenko, Russia Today and state propagandists said it. Now Putin has personally stated this during his selector. Just listen what he accuses Ukraine of. We have every reason to believe that in the immediate vicinity of Russia, on the territory of Ukraine, in fact, components of biological weapons have been created, and with the financial support of the Pentagon, military biological programs were carried out, including experiments with samples of COVID-19, anthrax and cholera, and so on and so forth. This is classic intimidation using loud terms. In fact, even Russian biologists and chemists have refuted this fake. They said that no chemical weapons had been developed in Ukraine. But why is this information being thrown into the media space? It can be a very difficult explanation, so that it could be used later as an argument, or for Russia to wage an aggressive war against Ukraine, and this is one of their arguments to do so. Or it may even be a chemical strike, a strike by Russia with chemical weapons on Ukraine, and our American partners have already warned us about that. At the same time, it is interesting that foreigners who unfortunately work for the Russian state have already joined the announcement of this fake. In particular, we are talking about a former congresswoman who repeated this very fake. Her name is Tulsi Gabbard, and she has been repeatedly exposed for helping Russia on the international political and informational front. In particular, she also demanded that Ukraine should respond to these allegations of establishing chemical laboratories. What did she say before that? For example, she stated that Viktor Medvedchuk was being persecuted in Ukraine. She also visited dictator Assad in Syria. She has repeatedly been a repeater of fakes and throw-ins that are beneficial to Russia. What else is interesting? It turns out that this former congresswoman is working closely with a lobbyist associated with Russia. His name is Chris Cooper, the founder of the PR agency Potomac Square Group, who was accused of illegal lobbying in favor of Russia. If you look at how she voted when she was still a member of the US Congress and she lost her seat, for example, she did not support a resolution calling for an independent investigation into the murder of Boris Nemtsov in Russia. She also did not support a bill banning the US government from recognizing the annexation of Crimea. In a similar way, this congresswoman did not support Magnitsky's global law, which imposes sanctions, including on Russian officials. I mean, her connection with Russian propaganda, with the Russian state, is quite clear. We will not be surprised if they will continue to use her to spread fakes. So how do you react? Just keep thinking critically. Trust Ukraine, trust the Ukrainian armed forces, our political leadership, and Ukrainian mass media. Believe in our victory. Glory to Ukraine.
Перемогу. Слава Україні!